Brought Downey here, who's great in this.
You know what? He should be right here.
Where is he?
Funnily enough, the two of us now
Divided
have a great time. No, we on the whole do everything together.
Right.
It just makes it much more fun.
He doesn't like me.
I think he doesn't feel like he's been invited.
Oh my
Charlie, we have to sort this out.
We do.
If there's someone I'd like to see around this table,
it would be
it's
him.
Robert Downey. Yeah, for sure.
This is really unforgivable on whoever's part.
Has the invite
to see
gone?
the two of you together? Yeah. Did he think he was not invited?
He was jealous. Let me put it that way. When we were running through our itinerary for New York,
and he said, "You're doing Charlie,"
and I said, "I'm doing," and he went,
"Really?"
It was literally, "Why are you doing? How come you're doing that? Why am I not doing that?"
All right, so we'll bring you back together.
Yeah, good.
All right, another time. So let me go back and look at some of those things we saw. Of all those characters, I mean, is there a connection between one and the other and the other? Do you have some method of which you choose the people you want to play? Do you have some guiding light? Does it depend on whether whatever you did before? Does it depend on the offer you have?
There's no connection, and there's certainly no plan. There's no map.
Clearly. An examination would certainly suggest there's no plan.
No, indeed.
Yeah.
But if anything, you talked about, if anything, one is a reaction off the last. I quite like the idea of, it keeps my interest up, to do something very different, because you feel like you've covered a certain territory or a certain period, maybe, or a certain type, although that minimalizes the character. But if anything, it's a reaction against what I've just done. But on the whole, I'd like to think it's interesting. I mean, for me, I've always looked at it as there has always been a guiding light. Initially, I would say, in my 20s, I was just trying to prove variety, and I think throughout the better part of my 30s, I was trying to dig out stuff I'd never done. And now, more than ever, I'm absolutely just interested in sort of who's directing it, because I think there's a certain point where you think, okay, where am I? I want to be stretched. I want to be taught. I want to do new things. But sometimes that comes from being.
You did two with Anthony Minghella, the late Anthony Minghella.
Three.
Coal Mountain.
Ripley, and Breaking and Entering.
Wow.
Yeah.
A man who died way too young.
Truly. Yeah.
He said all these amazing things about you, as you must know.
Yeah, we had a very extraordinary friendship, working friendship. We shared an awful lot of small similarities in where we lived and our interests and how we like to work. We weren't great buddies away from work. We didn't spend an awful lot of time together, but at work, he had I find it quite hard to talk about him, funnily enough, without getting quite upset. He had a real key into my heart, my soul, and I always felt very, very safe in his hands, and I felt that he was someone I was happy to reveal sides of myself to on camera, and that if he guided me, I really trusted him. I felt very... not only was he capable, but nurturing.
Do you feel vulnerable in the hands of some directors?
Yeah, I think, there's been the odd occasion when you wonder where this is going, or whether what you've just given is going to be either used or indeed appreciated. I'm fortunate. I've had pretty much the majority of good experiences, and sometimes feeling vulnerable in their hands has led for a really positive experience, that the vulnerability was important.
It brought out things in you that...
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a party. It shouldn't always have to be a party. We're at work, and if someone wants it to feel a certain way, then that's a good thing too. If they want it to be uncomfortable and awkward, then that's a decision. But I think it's more that, if you're going to give something, which is what I think film acting is, it's like you give, and then it's for the director to, the post-production is such a huge part of filmmaking, unlike theatre where it's you performing there and then. If you're going to give, you hope that you're on the same page, so that what you see at the end is close to what you were both trying to get to.
But you don't know that until you see the edited film.
You never know. certainly if you're not involved in any other...
But you don't talk about that along the way?
Yes, of course. You talk about it, you certainly talk about it along the way, and you hope, but unless you have a hand in the editing room, or say if you're a producer as well as an actor in something, if you're just an actor for hire, then you tip up and you see it and you think, oh gosh, it's become that, wow. And that can sometimes be a surprise, to put it mildly.
The last time you were here, we talked about Hamlet.
Yes.
And since then, even though we had a long conversation with you with different versions of Hamlet, we have enlarged that idea. We're doing this whole series called Why Shakespeare, exploring it both in terms of how actors approach a particular role or scene, and how directors staged it, or how, whether the idea was to make it contemporary or not. Witness one that you did. And you said to me when I brought up Hamlet that for a while there you hated to... You felt like you owned it. You'd given so much to it. And because it is the role to have, I assume, as an actor. Yes?
I would certainly say it's the most rewarding part I've ever read or played.
Because?
Certainly. Because not only do you have on paper some of the most beautiful, introspective and revealing speeches written in the English language, you also have the opportunity to imbue them with yourself. It becomes a very personal journey. So somehow you are playing a character that ultimately is a journey into your own being. And
that's why you get so many good interpretations, and they all can be right, because it is a reflection of who the actor is.
It has the capacity to make all of them right. And yet also on top of that, it's just a great story. You have a great journey. You see, Faustus is a great character with many levels that allow you to interpret and to put yourself on it. It's not a brilliant story. The way it's structured kind of falls apart in the middle. Hamlet is this phenomenal journey which has every peak, every trough, rhythmically worked out.
You said once that you don't play Hamlet. Hamlet plays you.
Yeah, I guess I think.
Do you remember that?
I do. I think I kept saying that actually during the. That's why I was exhausted every night after
that damn
coming off
stage.
Played
me again.
Yes, indeed. Yes, he does, because the spirit of him, as I said, it sort of tattoos itself on you for a time, for the duration of your run,
and even
then
later
it's passed on. Yeah,
but even later, you said to me as you sat down. For a while there, you didn't go see other Hamlets because you felt like he still was within you.
There have been a couple of productions in London in the last 2 years since I finished my production here in New York, both of which have been very well reviewed, and both the parts are played by actors I admire greatly, Rory Kinnear and Michael Sheen. But I just didn't feel... Funnily enough, I think Alan Rickman said that to me when I was about to play it. He said, you won't want to see this play for a few years yet, because... And he was right. You feel a sense of... It's not ownership. It's almost that it's... If you're playing something that taps into your emotions on that level, where you feel that you're really putting yourself out there as, in the end, a human stripped, a human revealing their sense of what it is to be a human, a character that's revealing what it is to feel alive, and to play with the idea of being alive and dead and mad and not mad every night. I think the keys in you, that just hearing that dialogue would open. I was a little scared of it, and I think the idea then of seeing someone else interpret that or try and take that on this close wasn't somewhere I wanted to go.
You're not suggesting that somehow you would see somebody do something and you would say, damn, I wish I'd thought of that.
Oh, maybe that too. Why not? Oh, missed that. Or that's how you say that line.
Yeah.
No.
But I could do it again, I would do it that way.
Yes. I mean, funnily enough, I said to Mark Rylance, when I'd finished it, I said, I found it hard to find anything I wanted to play. And he, of course, said, do it again. Because he's played it several times.
And are you going to do it again?
No, I don't think I will. There are too many other parts.
Does it have to do with orders, what comes into the table, as to whether you next go to the theater? Because you got to plan these things. And
yes.
Now that you have, kids, is it more interesting to stay at home, be close to home?
Yes, it is. It's certainly it's more fun having that routine. But having said that, you know, when an opportunity arises that is irresistible, and also an opportunity for the family, you know, upping sticks as a family and moving to an extraordinary new town or a new country is a wonderful experience. And I think it's not, you know, it's easy to look at the downside and think, gosh, that can be an upheaval, but it's also a positive. It's an exciting life to be an actor and be able to take your family to a new experience. But I'm quite methodical about planning it. I'm not someone who disappears. Yeah, I'm aware of keeping an eye on how long we've been away and how long we've been at home and how long I've been, you know, on screen or not on screen, on stage, and I quite like to keep an eye on that sort of stuff.
It's great to see you here. Thank
It's
you
good to be
very
here.
much. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Jude Law, we will be back and talk about Anna Christie when you do that, I hope.
Yeah, I hope I can come here and do that. I'm not sure we can yet. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, why couldn't you?
Well, the actress has got a wonderful film job, which she really wants to do.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing it early next year. And, you know, the momentum is lost sometimes with these things. But it was a part I fell in love with playing this role. And,
Did you really? Beyond expectation?
I really did, way beyond expectation. And I really love working with Eugene O'Neill. He is an extraordinary writer. And but there's a future to this piece, I think. I think we're going to find another way of doing it, whether it's in New York, back in London, on film, somehow. We're going to do it again.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Jude Law,